and welcome back to Rue's Life. So today I've decided it's time to get on with this project that I've been talking about and really looking forward to, and that's to create a bed that I'm going to dedicate solely to flowers. I'm really excited about it. As you can see, it's going to be directly in front of the shed and my little seating area. I am going to make a little patio or decking area just behind me where that table and chairs are. So I thought it would be a lovely place to be able to just sit and enjoy flowers. I've got lots of seeds and plants and things that I want to get into this bed, and the first things I want to get in, although a little bit late, are some alliums that I've had sitting away. I've got a small packet that I actually bought when I went to the Malvern Autumn Show, and I've been planning this flower bed pretty much since then, a little bit before then in fact. So as you can see, I've got plenty of cardboard. I have been pootling around the farm and I've already started finding some wood that I can use for edging. There's plenty more where that came from. And the other thing I'll be using is a really good well-rotted horse manure. Those of you that follow me will know. Anybody that's new to my channel, I am no dig, and all of these beds have been created in pretty much the same way, and that's by laying down a layer of cardboard directly onto the grass, and then I cover it with a decent layer of well-rotted horse manure, and then I edge the bed with whatever I can find. And I've got a lot of bits of wood, which are just bits of old tree lying around, and they make great edges for those beds. And then over the years I've topped them up, and some of the winters where I've put the beds to sleep for the winter, I've actually covered them with another layer of cardboard and then mulched them with whatever I have available at the time, and that might be more of the well-rotted horse manure. I've used leaf mulch, I've used old chicken bedding, and those beds have been layered up like a lasagna really over the years, and because of that I've got some really good growing spaces. So I don't get too hung up on measuring. I'm sure if you measured all my beds they'd all be slightly different sizes. I tend to just use my eye and does it look okay. So that's pretty much what I'll be doing here. I've got a rough idea in my head of what I want this bed to look like, and then I will continue to develop around it. So I'm going to start with laying down this cardboard. It's a perfect day. It's not the best day for filming, I'm sorry, it's a little bit dull, but it's about 5-6 degrees, so it's not too cold. And as I say, I've got to collect some more materials, but I'll start by laying the cardboard down, and then I'll get some compost from the muck heap, and it's going to take quite a lot of barrows to cover this. So enough chit chat and waffle, let's crack on. So I've also got here some paper, which is what's come packaged around things, and also some paper feed sacks, and I'll be using those as well. So you can see here behind me I've laid plenty of cardboard down. I've actually not used the paper that I had, I've rolled that up and I'll store that for some other project, but I've really put a good layer of cardboard down, and I've started to put the edging around. I've just been and collected some more log edging, but I've accidentally tipped the wheelbarrow up as I came through the gate, and I'm just being mindful that I've got logs kind of sticking out with spiky bits, and I've got to squeeze past the polytunnel. So rather than doing that, I'm just going to carry them over, and then I will get the bottom and the two sides done with the edging, but I'll leave the top end open so I can get the wheelbarrow down when I come to bring the well-rotted horse manure. But you can see how quick and easy this process is, and I'm already starting to feel like I've achieved something. So let's get these log edges around, but I'm just going to carefully carry them past the polytunnel rather than trying to push them in the wheelbarrow, because it's a little bit uneven on the ground and they're a little bit pokey. So I think it's time for a cup of tea. I'm going to get that kettle on and sit down and have a cuppa and just sit and have a little look and a little think. Am I happy with what I've done so far? So I've got that cardboard laid and I've started the majority of the edging. Next is going to be fetching the well-rotted horse manure and start filling that bed up. But as I say, I think it's time for a cup of tea first.
Leadership election, and for example, when in 1995 John Major resigned to his party, the Whip's role was very fair.
So that's the last load to go on. These last few loads are a little bit drier, so I'm going to give it a good water once I've spread it where I want it to be, just to damp it down and help to start the process of the cardboard softening up. So that is about, I think I've done about 10 loads altogether up and down the drive, so that's my workout for today. Who needs the gym, eh? So I've just put each load on and then I'm spreading it with my hands to get it nice and even. And there's a few leaves and bits and pieces in this as well, but they will all break down nicely. And then all that's left to do is just get some more of these edging logs and we're done. So that is a really good thick layer on top of that cardboard. So I don't know if you can see this last load, or the last few loads are drier and they're quite dusty. So I'm going to give it a good watering. I've already started watering that, so let's give this a good hose as well. So I think I've earned myself a cup of coffee, so the next job before I go and fetch the last few logs to edge it with is to get that kettle on. I'm really pleased with what I've achieved today. Say just a little bit more left to do, but I want to just have a little sit down. The kettle's boiling, so I'm going to get myself a cup of coffee. Well earned cuppa. Cheers. So the bottom end, the first few loads that I brought were from the muck heap, and it's quite good, well rotted manure. Because the horses have been living predominantly out for the last couple of years and haven't spent a huge amount of time in their stables, of course I haven't been taking as much muck, so there wasn't as much on the muck heap as I was hoping. One of my stables, however, Fish's stable, is actually an earth floor, and we added in shavings, and as he's trundled around and he's weed and he's pooed and he's trundled it all up together, it's very dry in there and it's just made this crumbly soil poop wee mix. So obviously we take the worst of the poo out and the worst of the wet out, but there's always going to be a little bit left in there. And I've been saying for a while I need to give it a good clear out and then get some more shavings down. And as they're out at the moment, it was an ideal opportunity. So I used, as I say, the first few barrows from the muck heap, and then I've actually emptied out a big chunk from Fish's stable, taken that down now so I can just chuck some fresh shavings in. He's got a nice fresh bed, and I've got some really lovely material for my flower bed. So I'm going to have this cup of coffee. I'm going to then take the wheelbarrow up and collect the last few bits of wood and log edging, and that will be that bed complete and ready for planting. So I would love to hear from you. Drop me a comment below. Have you got any projects on the go at the moment? What are your plans for this growing season? I pretty much have grown vegetables on this plot with a few flowers actually within my vegetable beds. I've had some calendula, and I love Californian poppies, and I have had those interspersed with my vegetables. But as I've said in previous videos, I really wanted to have a bed that I just dedicate to flowers. I've very much been inspired. I have a book that one of those eagle eyes of you spotted recently in the shed, which is Jeff Hamilton, good old Jeff Hamilton, Cottage Gardens. And for many, many years I've looked at this book and flicked through the pages and been so inspired. And now that the plot has developed the way that it has, we've got the shed, we've got the seating area, we've got the plans to have a proper sort of decking or patio area here. Oh, that was a very loud mini. I really thought it would be a lovely place to situate my flower bed and fill it with traditional country cottage flowers. So I've got lots of ideas of what I'm going to put in there. Most of it will be started from seed. I was thinking of having it sort of high at the back, tall flowers at the back, and then getting lower towards the front, so it looks very pretty looking at it from the shed and the seating area. But a lot of people that drive and walk past also admire my plot, so I actually thought it would be nice for them to be able to admire that flower bed as well, and also to be able to look at it from all angles. And Chris came up with a fabulous idea. Instead of doing back to front or front to back, that I actually put the tall flowers in the middle, almost like a pyramid, and then come out. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So start those taller ones in the middle and then bring them out. So I've got the lower flowering plants around the edge. So that's what I'm going to start it off. That's how I'm going to try it for this season, and we'll see how that pans out. So I'm going to finish my coffee, and then before I run out of steam, I'm going to finish that bed off. And here is the finished bed, which I'm really, really pleased with. As you can see, it's pretty rustic, but it is cobbled together with things that I found on and around the farm. So as I say, I'm really, really pleased with what I've accomplished today. And to create a whole bed in one day, it's a decent size. You know, it really doesn't have to take that much. If you collect up your bits and pieces, you can create a bed in a relatively short space of time. It's really important to me that I do use materials that I can find on and around the farm or anywhere else that I can find them. And that's for a number of reasons. Now, obviously, it's great to do things on a budget, and why spend more than you have to? But there is a huge sense of achievement in creating essentially something from nothing. It's recycling, it's good for the planet, it's good for my pocket, and it creates these fantastic flourishing vegetable and now flower beds. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm really looking forward to showing you the progression of this new flower bed, and of course getting things started with the vegetable plot as well. Take care, and I'll see you all again soon.